Read that again from verse 9, right? I want to show this brother something. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 9. Only take heed to thyself.
Only take heed to yourselves. This is something that's important for the so-called black man. You want to know why? Because when it comes to our liberation, when it comes to us doing better, when it comes to us holding ourselves accountable or the we do wrong, you know what we do? We start worrying about what everybody else is doing. Why you ain't saying that about the white people? But what do white people do? There's an interview right now on the Breakfast Club. You know what the Breakfast Club is, right? The radio show. It's a man by the name of Larry Elder. He went on saying he's trying to run for president because he feels that he's the best candidate because he's ready to address and to attack the issues pertaining black people. And you know what this dude Charlemagne said? Well, what about white people? And he looks at him like, well, who gives a damn about white people? White people, we've been looking, get that in Lamentations 4:17. We've been looking for them to help us for so long.
Right.
When the hell they gonna help us? Who cares when they gonna help us? We need to help ourselves. And that's what it means. Take heed unto yourself. Watch over yourself. Hold yourself accountable. Because anybody else doing it, they're gonna hold you accountable so that they can take advantage of you and to subject you unto their way. If we held ourselves accountable, we build ourselves up, and then we become what they call a formidable opponent. We become formidable citizens. And at that point, we then do what? At that point, we then do what? We then get the respect of people. Honest respect. Not respect that we had to beg for, but respect that we demand. Right? Read it again from the top. Only take heed to thyself. Go ahead.
Only take heed to thyself.
Read.
And keep thy soul diligently.
And keep your soul diligent. Again, your soul is dealing with your consciousness. Your ability to discern between right and wrong. Keep that locked in. Read.
Lest thou forget the things which thine eyes have seen.
It says, unless we then forget what we've seen. What's the crime rate out here in Buffalo? Is it high or is it low amongst black people? High, right? We tend to forget the things that we've seen because that high crime rate was supposed to serve as a reminder that we shouldn't be doing these things to us. That if we then forsook the ways of God, that we would then even turn on ourselves. And it's so crazy because we'll turn around and we'll go find some woman. She'll be fine, she'll be cute, she'll be thick, pretty in the eyes, right? Slim waist, fat old ass. And you start talking to her about God and she'll say some stuff like, I don't really know if I believe in God. And you'll ignore that just because she's fine and you try and hit. See what I'm saying? That's a problem. We don't have no foundation. We don't have no principles that we walk on. That should be a clear indicator that somebody that's iffy about God, I don't know if I can mess with you. If they don't have no principle on the floor to stand on, they get to be whatever they want at any given day. And that tends to happen. You'll meet her, y'all will fall in love, you guys have all of these things in common, but she's still iffy about God. You'll get down on one knee in a public setting, you'll propose to her and dedicate and declare your life to her. 10 years later, y'all have 3-4 kids, she's getting tired, you guys don't go on dates anymore. You guys don't spend any quality time. Why? Because you out here being the man that you're supposed to be and providing for the family, and there's no more excitement. And now she's ready to leave when 10 years prior, she vowed to you until death did you part. 80% of the black community, 80% of marriages in the black community result in divorce. 75% of that 80% is filed by women, right? Most of the time because they're just unhappy. They're not happy anymore. Since when was that supposed to be what a marriage was about? But again, we didn't take heed to ourselves. We didn't keep our mind diligent on the things that we've seen. All of the destructive things that happen to us should be as an indicator, reminder as to how we are failing ourselves. How we failing ourselves? Because we don't listen to the Most High God. Read.
Unless they depart from thy heart.
Go ahead.
All the days of thy life.
Read.
But teach them thy sons and thy sons' sons.
But what we were commanded to do, we were supposed to teach these things to our sons and our sons' sons. Teach them what? To follow the Most High God. Keep him first and principle in your heart. Read.
Verse 10, especially the day that thou stoodest before the Lord thy God in Horeb, when the Lord said unto me, gather me the people together, and I will make them hear my word.
So here's my thing. Right before you walked up, this is what we was talking about. Imagine your mindset. Imagine a mindset of all of the men in our community that's keeping the crime rate so high. If they were taught from birth that they were a part of the people that stood before the Lord when he spoke unto Moses in Mount Horeb, how we would look at ourselves, how we would have a level of fear and reverence for the Most High God, to understand and know when you out here committing crime, especially against your own people, there's the big boogeyman in the sky watching you. Because again, you got any kids?
Yeah, I do.
How many kids you got?
6.
6 kids. Your kids scared of the dark? No? How many people do you know that got kids that scared of the dark? And they afraid of the goddamn boogeyman. Our kids is out here more scared of the goddamn boogeyman than they scared of the Most High. See what I'm saying? Imagine if we had that same respect, if not more, for again, the creator of heaven and earth.
Right.
That established everything. We become so proud and arrogant at times where we then start to point the finger at God as if he's wrong for the conditions that we're going through, when he had already told us this thousands of years ago before it even happened. You ever heard that you were Israelite before? You heard that? Is it something that you can accept?
I mean, the thing is, we get fed a false narrative or they give us the wrong information. So
I like it.
It's pretty hard to get the access to, like the truth, I should say.
Okay. Now here's the thing, right? Give me Isaiah 8 and 20. You a believer in God?
Yeah.
You a believer in the Bible? That's where it starts getting.
Yeah, that's where it gets a little iffy.
What are your references of the Bible? What makes you hesitant?
Just particular stories of belief. I know it's
Like what?
how could you want me to believe in something that I haven't seen or I haven't felt? For instance, I've been going through trials and tribulation my whole life, but I still keep going or moving forward. I know it's a higher power, but I haven't seen it, or I haven't had a handout. I see a lot of things happening to people, and I'm like, why are they? I feel like they getting handouts and stuff like that, where I got to struggle for everything that I particularly get or whatever. So I asked God multiple times for help, never received the help. Or felt I received the help.
You asked who?
God.
Okay.
Multiple times for help, but I never received it. No, I don't believe that. I'm not saying that there's not a God. I guess I still believe in a higher power. Just saying that every time I went to or tried, I never received what I never received anything. So me personally, I don't just get down and pray or things like that anymore. But that's one of the reasons why I didn't stop to come listen to y'all or hear what y'all have to say.
Okay.
I got 5 minutes to go wait at McDonald's. I got 5 minutes to come hear y'all. You know what I mean?
Now I got you. I'm gonna show you something, right? A lot of times, what our people do is they're going about trying to approach God in a false manner that they were taught.
Right.
Right? Now, out of all the praying that you were doing, maybe your blessing or maybe the answer wasn't gonna come in the form in which you was expecting or was hoping for. Because a lot of times the things that we pray to God for are vain. And it might not seem vain to us in our small, what they call a finite, little tiny brain, right? On a micro level, but on a macro level, we have to understand how God puts us in certain positions, right? And the places in which where he leads us. So you said you was looking for the truth. I'm here to tell you right now, I got the truth for you, but not off of my own heart, but out of the very book that all of our people have had and been telling us, and they've never showed this to us, right? So before you get Isaiah 8, give me Romans 10, right? And start from the top. You have a zeal. You have that knowledge. You got that. You say, I still believe in a higher power, even though my blessings wasn't answered, even though things haven't really gone the way I thought it was going to be. It only happened that way because it was based off of a false idea of what God was. Okay? From the top.
This is Romans chapter 10 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel.
My heart's desire and prayer to God is for Israel. Remember, you have this false understanding of what God is and what and how he should be, because we were supposed to be taught these things from a child. Our father was supposed to teach us, his father was supposed to teach him, so on and so forth. We were supposed to have a clear-cut understanding of what God is. We don't, so this is what happens. We have a heart and prayer to God for Israel. Is that what?
Is that they might be saved.
Is that they might be saved. So a lot of times, especially for those righteous and special ones, they don't get those vain responses to those prayers. You want to know why? Because sometimes those things can be distractions, right? Sometimes we pray for a better job. Sometimes we pray to just get through the day. And there's nothing wrong with those things, but where's the Lord really trying to take you by not giving you those things? I'm going to show you. Read. Because it's all for the purpose of our salvation. Read.
Verse 2. For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God.
It says we have a zeal of God. A zeal is a fear. We have a knowledge to want to know God. Read.
But not according to knowledge.
But we don't have the knowledge of him. So when we have that desire to want to know him, but not coupled with the knowledge, what happens?
For they being ignorant of God's righteousness.
When we are ignorant of God's righteousness, what do?
And going about to establish their own righteousness.
We go about to establish our own righteousness. That's again, I don't really know it. I do believe in a God. I know I gotta pray, but I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm going about to establish my own righteousness. Read.
And have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
And when we go about to establish our own righteousness, we can't say that we've actually submitted ourselves unto the righteousness of God. And once we establish ourselves under the righteousness of God, then the Lord is more prone and more likely to hear our prayers. Right? What you got?
I got. This is Proverbs chapter 28, verse 9.
Go ahead.
He that turneth away his ear from hearing the law.
It says, he that turns away his ear from hearing the law. Read.
Even his prayer shall be abomination.
So what happens is that our people, they've been neglecting this book. So then when we sit down and we go to pray to the Lord, we expect him to just give us something. You got 6 kids. Are you going to give them whatever it is they come and ask dad for, even though they've been messing up in school, they've been messing up at home, they've been being disrespectful? Hell no. And this is why we call him the Heavenly Father. Because the Lord, he speaks to us in ways that we can see. You see what I'm saying? He's a Heavenly Father. He also calls himself a husband to all of our people.
Right.
Because of the love. Are you with the children of the mother of your children? No? Have you ever loved a woman before, romantically?
Yes.
See what I'm saying? And when you love that woman, you was ready to just give her the world.
I'm actually in that position right now.
And I'm happy for you. She a black woman?
No, she's not.
What is she?
Italian.
She's Italian? Hey, we find love in the strangest places, but that feeling that you have within you, it's a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
The Lord likens himself as to be the husband of his people, because that same feeling in you is what the Lord has for us. But again, if that woman that you feel that way towards, if she out here running around being a goddamn hoe, are you gonna give her the things that you feel like giving her? Absolutely not. And that's where a lot of our humility comes into play, right? A lot of times once we realize that, we say, damn, I haven't been doing right by my husband. I haven't been doing right by my father. I haven't been doing right by my maker. So how could I expect him to just shower me with blessings? And if we knew any better, then we'd know he already laid out the terms and conditions of the marriage.
Right.
If you obey me, I will bless you. If you disobey me, I will curse you. And again, the cursing was supposed to be a means of correction, the same way that you do with your kids, and even the same, or even in a similar way that you would do with your girl. You might not whoop your girl like you would do your kids or chastise them in that way, but you're gonna do something to get her to understand you have not done right by me, I am displeased with your behavior, and you can't expect this to be some happy-go-lucky home with you behaving this way. That's how God feels about us. And again, it doesn't mean that she doesn't love you. It means that she doesn't know how to love you. Have you ever been in that situation?
Yes, I think I have.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, now just thinking about it. Yeah.
A lot of times they don't even ask. I had an older brother tell me. He says, if you ask your girl to go make you a sandwich go in there and make you a sandwich, if she don't ask you what you want on that sandwich, she just made you another nigga sandwich. She just made you another nigga sandwich. There's another thing, right? Let's get real for a minute. There's another thing called pleasure mapping. You ever heard of pleasure mapping? Heard this from a woman, man. Tripped me the hell out. She says, when I meet a man, she says, we sit across from each other and we observe each other pleasure ourselves. Why? Because I want to know what she likes, and she needs to know what I like. A lot of times we be amazed because she come in and she be so good at shit. Yeah, she's pleasing you the way she was pleasing another nigga. And with that, it stifles and it impedes on the conversations that we should have to actually know each other so that we can love each other properly. It's the same way we do God. We come into the situation and we want to love God the way that we want to love him. When it's not the very way in which God has commanded us to follow and to show his love for him. What you got?
This is the book of 1 John chapter 5 verse 3.
Beautiful. You went exactly where I was going. Go ahead.
For this is the love of God.
Because if we say we love God, he says this is the love of God. Read.
That we keep his commandments.
People want to always walk around and do wickedly and say, I love God. God knows my heart. He knows that I love him. God says he doesn't want to hear all of that. He wants to see your actions. He wants his love to be performed in deeds, not in words. Right? What's your precept? Hold that. Finish your precept.
And his commandments are not grievous.
This is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not even hard. A lot of times, again, we liken this into a relationship. Because when you then start to, when a man finally gets to the point where he wants to express himself and how he wants to be loved by his woman, she make it seem like it's the most difficult thing in the world. When women don't even understand, we're the most simplest human beings on the planet. We're the most simplest species there is. They the complicated ones. We the ones got to be the mind readers when it comes to loving them. They the ones got to understand that they have a mood swing 7 days out of the goddamn month. We the most easiest things in the world. Keep everything peaceful. You feel me? Allow me to trust you. Keep me fucking fed and keep my nuts empty. Let's be real. The easiest thing in the world. And when you do that, I'm ready to go out here and risk my life for you. When you read about a virtuous woman in Proverbs, the 31st chapter, it says that this man needs to wholly trust in her so he don't have to go out here robbing people.
Right.
When you got a wicked woman, it makes you want to go run the streets and get in trouble. And this is literally what our people out here dealing with. Whether we've actually been able to express that to one another or not. Sometimes we do it inadvertently. Oh man, girl, she out home, she tripping, man. Hey, let's go get a beer. Hey man, my girl, man, she tripping, man. Let's go get a blunt. As soon as you start get off that beer, as soon as you get off that blunt, what happened? Then it's like, hey, let's go get in it, let's go roll, let's go do something. Let's go pop with some other girls. All of those different things leads to destruction and trouble.
To be honest with you, that's how I had my 6 kids.
See what I'm saying?
Exactly how I had.
How old are you, bro?
I'm actually 30.
30.
Look young. But I was running back and forth. Instead of actually listening to the problem or trying to deal with the problem, I just ran to the other woman.
Go
And
back
then
to
my
the
kids
Isaiah
was
1.
going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
What you feel like what the problem was? Do you feel like you've identified the problem, the root of it?
Me, decision making. Should have made better decisions.
But where do you get this? How did you develop this habit of making bad decisions?
Drinking. I would say drinking, and I was in the streets. Fast money, women coming in. That's all I was thinking about. I wasn't actually thinking about my life or planning my life. You know what I mean? And as I got older and as growing with my kids, you know, I made a change for myself. That's right. Because I didn't want to be out in the streets, or I didn't want to leave my kids without a father. So that's why I made a lot of changes.
And that's such a powerful point, because that's one of the first things that we spoke to you about when you came up. It's the things that you're supposed to instill in your kids. Not only are you supposed to show them a better way, there's things that you got to sit down with your kids and what we call break bread with them, right? The bread of the Most High, the bread of this law, the bread of these scriptures. Because you remember, I told you, I said we got the truth, but I'm gonna show you the truth. So I'm just walking you through the different steps as to where we went wrong, and then we're gonna get to what the truth is. Finish that. Read it again.
This is 1 John chapter 5 verse 3.
Go ahead.
For this is the love of God.
Read.
That we keep his commandments.
Love is an action. It's not words, it's not a feeling, right? You can be inspired to love someone. You can be compelled to love someone. But the fact of when you actually love them is when you perform the deeds of love. And you know what those deeds of love is? The deeds of love is making sure that you don't do wrong by yourself, so that you can be in a position to make sure that you don't do wrong by them, and not allowing them to do wrong by themselves. Right? Go ahead.
All right. This is 1 John 3:18.
Read.
My little children, let us not love in word.
Let's not love in just word. Go ahead.
Neither in tongue.
Neither in just our tongue. Read.
But in deed.
But in our deeds.
And in truth.
And in truth. So let's see what this truth is, because we've been talking about it. You got that Psalms 119? You're already there. Read the precept that you had, and then get and then get the 142. Go ahead.
Psalm 119 and verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way?
Where is a young man going to cleanse his way? You made a right step with saying, okay, I got to be a better example for my kids. But this thing they say it's a journey. It's not a destination. It's not one place that we're going to get to and then it just stops. It's an ongoing thing. It's a lifelong journey. They say it's 3 stages to this. It's the awkward stage, it's the mechanical stage, and then it becomes natural, right? At first, when you first started drinking, it was, you didn't really even know how to handle it. You just like, oh man, this kind of feels good. Once you develop the habit of drinking, you know where to get it, you know what to get, you know what liquor you like, right? You start developing preferences. That's when you start getting into the mechanical stage. Then it's automatic. As soon as I get up, I gotta go get it. Or I might already have it from last night. I'll probably already prepared for the week to have my drink. You get into the streets, you know exactly how to run it, you know exactly how to get it, right? You make the change to say, I gotta do right, I gotta have it better, but it's an ongoing journey. So there's more to it. Wherewith shall a young man cleanse his way? You made the first step, but now you gotta make another one. Read.
By taking heed thereto according to thy word.
Taking heed unto the commandments. Remember, not just hearing them, not just talking about them, but in performing them as well. And the reason why I even brought up the whole fact that it's a journey is because even once you learn these scriptures, even once you learn these laws, it might be a long time before you have to actually perform one of them. Me in particular, bro, I've been doing this almost 15 years. It took me 10 years to have to exercise what's something called brotherly love. Why? Because I got around like-minded people. We all believe in the same thing, and we never really had any issues until one arose. And then all of those old feelings sparked, where I was able to just cut it. Well, I was able to just be like, you know what? Oh, you did something weird. You did something foul. I ain't even gonna mess with you. Nah, no, because that's the reason why there's issues in the community right now. Because we do things called holding grudges. Give me Leviticus 19. We do things called holding grudges. That's one of the worst things that's happening to our people is holding grudges. Grudges, gossip, and promiscuity. Meaning going around not valuing who you put your dick in. We don't value who we put our dick in. Like I said earlier, you'll meet a woman, you clearly you're not compatible on a root level, on a base level, but you just want to get your dick wet. It's a problem. So, Leviticus 19, read.
This is Leviticus 19 verse 18. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
Don't avenge the children of your people, meaning don't be out here trying to get revenge or get the blood back. Don't be out here trying to get it back in blood. Because doing so and sometimes it'll linger. Sometimes you can't find the person. They done did wrong to your sister, they done did wrong to your cousin, they did wrong to one of your partners, and we out here looking for them. We gotta have something called a judicial system, the way in which we conduct handling these matters. We can't take them upon ourselves. Now, I'm not saying that we need to go and turn them into the damn judicial system of America, but this is one of the things that we're lacking, a way in which we handle problems amongst ourselves, right? And then it says, don't hold any grudges. This is in God's law. Do not do it. You ever heard of the 10 Commandments? This is like one of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not. Read.
But thou shalt love thy neighbor.
But love him, again, not in tongue, not in word, but in deed. Read.
As thyself.
You love him as you love yourself. A lot of times, the grudges and issues we have with one another is because we really refuse to sit down and have a conversation about it.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And again, it trickles down to our relationships. It trickles then down to our children, because they get to a place, they get old enough to where they start having feelings, but they're reluctant to express those things because of the way in which we are parenting them. I'm a father myself, and I try my best to open the platform, or to create the platform where my kid can express himself to me, and anybody else's kid for that matter, because we have to work together. But what happened? We know how moms and dads was on us. You do it because I told you so. Simple and plain. I don't want to hear no back talk about it, and you just do it. And they never gave us any context. Go ahead.
This is Luke chapter 6, verse 31.
Read.
And as ye would that men should do to you,
As ye would that men should do to you, go ahead.
do ye also to them likewise.
Do ye also to them likewise. If you are a type of person that feels like you misunderstood and feel like people don't never really get a chance to understand who you are or hear you out, you got to be the change that you want to see. You got to be the example of how you want people to be, despite the multitude of people that wouldn't give a damn how you are. You see what I'm saying? It starts somewhere though. Read. Go back to that Isaiah the first chapter. Matter of fact, no. Psalms 119. Psalms 119, 9. We're gonna get 142, and then we're gonna get Isaiah 105. Read.
Psalm 119 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
With my whole heart have I sought thee. Oh, let me not wander from thy commandments.
Remember, this is how a young man cleanses himself, right? Turn into the ways of the Lord. It says, with my whole heart have I followed thee, and I have not turned away from it. It's easy. It's very much so tempting to get turned away from it. You'll be on this walk, you'll be like, man, I'll talk to them dudes on the corner, man, I'm feeling good. As soon as you see something or somebody that did you wrong, you're ready to snap right back into the old way. It happens. That's why I said it's a journey. What makes this knowledge so powerful is that we actually have a direction. A lot of our people just sitting around stuck in one place because they don't have no direction to going. They become stagnant, right? Keep reading. That was it on that? Read.
Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee.
Read it again.
Thy word have I hid in mine heart, that I might not sin against thee.
We have to hide the word in our heart. When you read about, and when you hear about the word heart in the Bible, it's talking about your mind. We hide these things so that we do not sin against God. But again, what is the sin? What is the transgression? What is the truth? What is the commandments, right? 142.
Psalm 119, verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
The righteousness of God is everlasting. It's always been around. It's always been human beings and people that has manipulated and twisted those things for it to become unfruitful. But it's always been around, and it will always be around. It will always be the best thing for any human being to follow for the progression of themselves and for the progression of their community and their nation. Go ahead.
And thy law is the truth.
The law of God is the truth. When we don't know the truth, then we are exposed to lies. When we are exposed to lies, that's when we are hurting. That's when we are here lacking. That's when we're out here destitute of what we need to be doing. If we're destitute of what we need to be doing, that's when we're stuck, we're stagnant, we have no place to go. Isaiah 1 and 5. When we stuck, stagnant, don't know where to go, when we lost, we tend to do things that have a negative or an adverse effect on ourselves. That's when we become heartbroken, right? From not even just on a romantic level, but even from our parents, right? We get to a certain age, anywhere between 11 and 16 is where it starts. You start being able to observe, you start being able to process thoughts, and you start realizing like, damn, Mom, you a hypocrite. You out here telling me to not do a whole bunch of stuff that I'm actively watching you do. You say, damn, Dad, you talking about being a man, you talking about handling your responsibilities, you telling me all of those different things, and you ain't handling yours. And then that's where our first form of disappointment comes into play. And then we then tend to go and find solace or find peace in substance, drinking, drugs, vagina. And sometimes you hit the trifecta, you and all of it. Go ahead.
This is Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 5. Why should he be stricken anymore?
So the Lord says, why should you be stricken anymore? You got the Deuteronomy 28? He says, if you keep my commandments, I'll bless you. If you break my commandments, I'm gonna curse you. That's the strickening. Everything that we're going through has been literally written in this Bible that we would go through if we broke the commandments of God. This is literally what was gonna happen. And we never read it. We were never forewarned. So when they do then happen to us, it doesn't serve as a reminder. We then find a place to get an attitude with God. How you would get mad at somebody when I told you what was gonna happen? Again, the role of a father. You told your kids, if you keep getting up making noise, if you keep messing up in school, if you keep leaving this room dirty, if you keep leaving that kitchen dirty, I am going to whoop your ass. You are going to get things taken from you. I am going to punish you. And listen, we're compassionate. We love our kids. We don't want to be tyrants. So we give them time and pass after pass after pass. But by the time they really push us to that limit, shit, we almost kind of excited to punish their ass. Like, I've been giving you time and time again. So the Lord had already gave us forewarning, but people like me and you never received that warning because our forefathers was already violating the law that these things should have been passed down to our children. Why should we be stricken anymore? Why is it that now when I bring something like this to your attention, what reason would you have to go off and continue to do the things that's been getting you the results that you've been getting that you don't even like, that makes you then pray to God to then not get the results because you've turned your ear away from hearing the laws of God. When you turn away your ears from hearing the laws, your prayers become abomination. Abomination is something that's hated. See what I'm saying? It becomes a despised thing. As a father, you look at your kids and you say, how dare you ask me to go outside and play? How dare you ask me for that new PS5? And I just whooped your ass last night for messing up. You ain't even did nothing to correct your mess up. You still ain't even cleaned up what I told you to clean up that you failed to do that got your ass whooped. But you got nerve to come up to me and ask, say, Dad, can I go over to my friend's house? Hell no. Shit, I'm offended. Add 2 more weeks onto what you already had just for asking me something dumb like that. Because you know better, right? Why shouldn't you be stricken anymore, Reed?
God, he will revolt more and more.
It said, then we turn around and we get arrogant, we get proud. You know, one of them little badass kids. They ain't even going to receive that correction or the advice that you just gave them. It says they're going to revolt more and more. Now they're going to go in there and throw a temper tantrum. Now they're going to go in there and make them even more of a mess because they mad. That's how we act towards God. Read.
The whole head is sick.
It says the whole head is sick. Go ahead.
And the whole heart faint.
And your heart is dealing with your mind. It says the whole head is sick and your mind is weak. Then what? We dig ourselves in such a low position. One bad choice, one bad move after another, and we are such a low place. We become weak. And like I said, we become reliant and dependent upon substance for us to cope with the position that we're in. And I'm sure you can understand and know how difficult and hard it is for our people to relieve themselves off of those substances. They call it they say it's a monkey, it's a gorilla on your back. And it takes a strong-minded, a strong-willed person to find themselves in that position and to get themselves out. But we don't even have that mindset to get ourselves out. Our whole head is sick. Our choices, the things that we try to justify, and it says our whole mind is weak. We ain't even got the strength to muster up. We ain't even got what they call the mental fortitude to push ourselves through to the finish line. Read.
Verse 6, from the sole of the foot.
From the sole of your foot, read.
Even unto the head.
All the way to the top of your head. Go ahead.
There is no soundness in it.
It's not sound, meaning there's no functionality, right? You ever heard the term a sound mind? We don't have any of that. From the sole of our foot to the top of our head. Our entire nation, from the babies that's coming into the world until our elders that's finna depart from this world, we ain't got no sense. My grandmother is 98 years old. She been throwing words of this Bible at us for our whole life. As soon as I open this book and try to read it to her, she said, I ain't never heard of that before. 98 years old. How don't you know this? Hold that, keep reading.
But wounds and bruises.
All we have is wounds and bruises. Go ahead.
And putrefying sores.
And sores. Wounds, bruises, and sores. These are not literal sores. These are not literal bruises and wounds. It's a figurative thing. Why? It's all of our trauma. It's all of the things that was actually passed down. It's not the things that was supposed to be passed down. It's the things that was actually passed down. All of the hurt and trauma that your mother and father went through and passed it down to you. All of the hurt and trauma that you went through that you started to pass down to your kids, but you caught yourself. Why would you want to be stricken anymore? Good thing, even without the scriptures, good thing you caught yourself. And the Lord led you past us right now for you to get this truth, to actually establish a solid foundation and a base. A base for you to understand, plant your feet on, so that you never turn back to the things that you had to turn away from to show your kids. See what I'm saying? Wounds, bruises, and sores. Trauma. Trauma. Did your parents deal with substance abuse?
No, not really.
Drugs, alcohol? No?
Until I got older.
Not until you got older? And again, those things is unfortunate. My parents suffered from substance abuse, right? Dealing with that not having a sound mind, dealing with that weak mind. And it's not to down them, it's just the reality of the matter. And when we can speak this reality and when we can deal and speak into this truth, now we have a better opportunity to fix the problem. If not with our parents, definitely with ourselves, right? Keep reading. Wounds, bruises, and sores that have what?
They have not been closed.
They have not been closed. Go ahead.
Neither bound up.
Neither bound up. Go ahead.
Neither mollified with ointment.
What's going to happen to a wound or to a sore that have not been treated with ointment, that have not been closed up? It's going to get infected. The so-called blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians are one big spiritual and mental infection.
Right.
We take one problem that happens into us and we turn it into 10. We take those 10 problems and we turn it into 20. We take those 20 problems and we touch somebody else and infect them with the same thing. And then it takes over our entire body. The body is all of us collectively. Now, somebody can be brought up in a 2-parent household. No trauma from their parents. It just so happened that the parents are either immigrants or they're just honest, hard-working people. So they can't live in some uppity, low crime neighborhood. Honest people. And their kid wants to walk to the Family Dollar. Their kid wants to walk to the damn McDonald's. And because of everybody else's trauma that has been passed down, they've now infected them by 2 people having an issue, and their children get caught in the crossfire. It's our environment, man. In the scriptures, it calls us seeds sown among thorns, right? Where you got a good head on your shoulders, you got a good mind, but your environment takes over and it consumes you. And this is a problem for our people. We are infected and we are doing nothing to heal ourselves. Keep reading.
Verse 7, your country is desolate.
Your country is desolate. Read.
Your cities are burned with fire.
Cities are burned with fire. Go ahead.
Your land, strangers devour it in your presence.
It says, and strangers devour our land in our presence. But remember, these are the people that we're going and asking for help. You still got that Lamentations? How dare you drop the precept that I had you call, that I called for you? You know, don't you see this? See, it's a journey. It's all right. It's a journey. The precept that the brother dropped it. Lamentations 4:17. Read.
Lamentations 4:17.
Go ahead.
As for us.
As for us.
Our eyes.
Now, mind you, when we're reading in this Bible, this is a Bible that's literally written specifically to the children of Israel. It ain't written to nobody else. It's a bunch of Israelites writing records about how God inspired and moved them. So when it says for us, it's talking about the children of Israel. Who we understand the children of Israel today to be is the people on this sign. The blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Right? So as for us, what happened?
As for us, our eyes as yet failed.
Our eyes have failed. How have they failed? Read.
For our vain help.
Vain help. Vain means something that comes to nothing, right? Something that renders no results. What's our vain help? What have our eyes looked for that has resulted to nothing? Help from white people. Because we're too busy worried about them. We're too busy worried about how we're going to get a piece of what they have. And you know what they're worried about? How to make sure we get just enough to keep us pumping money and value into them. Instead of pumping it into ourselves. As soon as we start trying to pump it into ourselves, that's when they say, wait. Something's wrong here. Something's going on. We either need to shut this down completely or we need to throw a wrench in their program. And that's how we end up in these cities. That's how we end up in these situations, right? Bring your precept.
This is the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 5.
Go ahead.
For their mother has played the harlot.
Their mother has played the harlot. Again, if we understand the concept that the Creator, God, says that He's a husband to the children of Israel, His people, if we then go and despise Him to go follow another God, which a lot of times we don't even realize that we follow another God. For example, you smoke weed? Watch this. A lot of our people don't understand that smoking weed is a literal ritualistic practice unto the god of Shiva. You actually knew that, right? It's the Buddhist god, right? But what's so crazy is nowadays our people is putting Buddha in their damn house like it's decoration.
And it's another term for it is Ganja. You are slaying Ganja.
Right. That's dealing with the East Indian culture, right? And even dealing with their language.
Yeah.
What's so crazy is same thing with dreadlocks, right? Smoking weed, saging. This is something that's really becoming big. So again, if our God, which is supposed to be our husband, is likened unto our husband based off of the love that we have for one another, right? And the things that He's willing to provide for us as His people, and Him being our Creator and our husband. If we then go and follow after other gods, it's almost like when your girl go off and start dealing with another man, right? That's why it says your mother has played the harlot, right? Go ahead.
She that conceived them has done shamefully.
She that conceived has done shamefully. It's a shame for our women to be out here supposed to be committed to us, but then go deal with another man. Shameful. Are our women shamed of that now? Hell no. They turn around and make songs about it. They got a whole movement about it. And you want to know something funny? Cardi B, Megan Good, the goddamn City Girls, they all in relationships. They don't do that shit today. But they can create a movement by it. They can create a movement by it. You want to know why? Because that's that rich in the program that we just talked about. Our people are incentivized with multi-million-dollar contracts and recording contracts, right? And deals to go and promote that type of stuff in our community. Cardi does not want her daughter listening to WAP. JT from the City Girls does not want her daughter to be a city girl. Megan ain't got no kids, but I'm sure if she had them, she'd feel the same goddamn way. Future does not do drugs. They are incentivized to do those things for the betterment of them of their individual selves, and they have no idea that they become a pawn and a puppet for the people that's actually trying to keep us in the position that we're in right now. Contrary to popular belief, the people that give us these distractions and these contracts, they know who we are, and they also know. What's your name, bro? I'm Taz. Duke. If I can keep Duke doing wrong and going against his God, I know what his God has already said about him. If you break the laws of your God, curses are going to come upon you. Those wounds, bruises, and sores are going to come upon you. That strickening. As long as I can keep you thinking that my way and my money is more important than you following your God, I'll always rule over you. They know this, bro. They literally know this. As long as we can follow after their way instead of our God's way, they know the way our God punishes us is putting us under them. You feel like a white man's better than you? You sure? You feel like a white woman is better than a black woman?
No.
Hell no.
Honestly, what I think is, it's all about, well, my life. It's pretty much who actually been there for me. Like who actually, like when I've been down and out, or struggling, couldn't get nowhere, or those people is people I actually invest my time in and put love in. So it is not really a color thing for me, because, for instance, my lady, she is, her grandparents came over here on the boat, as far as with their trials and tribulations as well. So she kind of got a little bit of situation going on too, but it's not like saying it's the same as mine or where we came from.
Right.
But I can kind of understand where, her dilemma. And her family always, hey, when I come, it's like they treat me like I'm a king. It's not like I'm looked at like a peasant, or, you know, I'm invited everywhere with them. They take me to do everything with them. And, you know, it's like, and that's when I feel loved. You know, I feel like, you know, it's people that actually like or care for me, or, you know. That's what I like about them. But, no, I don't feel that the white man is, you know, superior to me. I feel like I'm a god. Well, I feel like I'm a king, rather, I should say. I walk around it. I walk around it.
Psalms 82:6. Now watch this. That's usually the case. I don't take nothing from it. You see, when I asked you, was the girl that you had these strong feelings for, was she a black woman? You say she was Italian. I say, hey, it happens. We find love in the most strangest places, and a lot of times we're reduced to that. To say, you know what? As much as I want to be for my people, as much as I want to be down, they done did me more wrong than anybody else. How can I be mad at anybody and not be mad at my own when they've done me wrong? So then where I can find a place that's not amongst my people that give me love, how can I deny that? I wouldn't expect you to deny it. Anybody in their right mind wouldn't deny it. But in the midst of that, we have to always remind ourselves there's gonna come a time in the day. Because I know a lot of times our people say, I don't make it a color thing. It's not a color thing. And a lot of times I want to make sure that I emphasize that. It's white people that have made it a color thing. The whole point is that you're not the color of your pants, although your pants are clearly black. Your girl is not the color of the rag in his pocket, or this paint on his ground, but they're considered white, so-called. Because remember, so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians, their true nationality, their true identity and ethnicity is of the children of Israel.
Right.
In the same way that we have an identity, is the same way that they have an identity as well. And again, it's not a situation where I want you to run home and point finger and turn against your girl. No. If you got love there, enjoy that love. But there's a reality and there's a fact that us as a people, we have to come up as a collective, as a whole. That always has to be the goal. If somebody was walking down the street and said, some white man walking down the street and said, hey, I got $100 for you. Thank you. You'd be a dummy not to take it. So where you find love and where you find moments and feelings of happiness, enjoy. But don't ever forget. That's the whole point. Don't ever forget. And never make that feeling above the program. Because that's all it is a good feeling. You know what else feels good? Getting drunk. You know what else feels good? Smoking crack. So I've heard. I wouldn't know, but again, we see the type of things that people go through to get it. It's gotta be good. It's gotta be amazing. They willing to throw their lives away. So we are never gonna put a good feeling above the program. And that's what we gotta understand. Once we come back into the identity of who we are, you add context to the idea that you're a God. You add context to the idea that you're a king. You add context to the idea that those are princesses right there. You see what I'm saying? Psalms 82:6.
This is Psalm chapter 82, verse 6. I have said you are God.
I have what?
I have said you are God.
In the Bible, it's telling the children of Israel, you are gods. Go ahead.
And all of you are children of the Most High.
And we are the ones that are children of the Most High God, the people of Israel. So you're not black. You're not African American. They start calling us African American in the 80s. Before we got over here and were brought over here on boats, we were understanding that we were the children of Israel. And guess what? We was in captivity before we were brought over here on boats. Because when you look at the Ethiopian, when you look at the Eritrean, when you look at the Sudanese, when you look at the South African, then we look at the Egyptian, those are the people that had us in slavery, that sold us to white people. But white people turn around and tell us, oh, they got black skin like you, they're your brothers. Until they come over here and they start trying to talk to you, and you get to know who they are, And they definitely feel like they're better than you, and they definitely recognize that y'all are not the same. They call us Akata. That's a name, which is equivalent to like in Africa. They look down and they despise us. We have to understand and recognize our identity. And recognize how great we are compared to everyone else in the earth. See what I'm saying? Again, saying all of that to say, even when you draw the comparison, the Italians, yeah, they came over here in a boat voluntarily, fleeing from persecution. You got to recognize, like I said, the good feeling over the program. The Italians would have never had a place of America to come to if it wasn't built off of the back of your ancestors.
Right.
And that's one thing that we always got to let people know. I'm not here to rain and piss on anybody's parade. Just don't put it over the program. Hey, what do you say? Never go full retard. Never go full retard. You got to know how to play the game and don't let the game ever play you. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's about building ourselves up. That was it on that? Go back to that. Go ahead.
4 and 7.
Yes, 4:17.
So Lamentations chapter 4 verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed.
Our eyes have yet failed. Go ahead.
For our vain help.
Vain help. Go ahead.
In our watching.
In our watching, read.
We have watched for a nation that could not save us.
We keep watching for a nation that can't save us. Your girl's family, I'm sure they're amazing. Can't save you. Can't save you. Within 70 years of the Italian and the Irish coming over here to this part of the earth, they became president of the United States. Within 70 years, they still didn't save us. Hell, they barely was even able to save themselves. And if there would ever be a decision to be made as to who they gonna save, in order, they never gonna put any of us or anybody outside of themselves before themselves. And that's just the reality of the matter. That's where the confusion comes in, because we're all mixed into this one pot here where we all get to kind of experience each other and develop relationships with one another. So then it becomes tricky. It's like, damn, man, this is my partner. Or damn, man, this is my girl. Like, I love this girl. I done been through things with these people. Unfortunately, that's the confusion that comes from this place called Babel. When you read in the Bible, it speaks about this mystery Babylon. The word Babylon goes back to the Hebrew word Babel, which literally means confusion. That's what this place is for. It's supposed to trip you up. It's supposed to confuse your idea of what direction you're supposed to go in. I always like to do an exercise. I say, close your eyes, right? Just imagine yourself on the western shores of Africa. Living your life. Ain't nothing wrong. You cool. You living up the planet. Hey, you enjoying yourself. Snap your fingers. The next thing you know, you blink, you snap your fingers, you're at the bottom of a boat, you're at the bottom of a ship chained to your family. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? If you just follow the scenario, the hypothetical scenario, everything's good, and the next thing you know, you wake up on the bottom of a ship chained to your family. What's the first thing you thinking?
How the hell did we get here?
How the hell did I get here? What the hell is going on? What's your next thought?
Where are you taking us?
Where are they taking
going?
us, right?
What's about to happen?
Now watch this. All of those, normal thoughts. You've been verified as a normal human being, right? Snap your fingers again. They open the hatch, they open the latch, and they let you off on the shores in a land that's completely and totally unfamiliar to you. What's your next thought?
Like, damn. That's what I'm thinking. Like, damn. What are we supposed to do here? Or why did they take us from our family? Why did they take us from our home?
What's your next thought?
What are we going to do?
What do you mean, what are we going to do?
Like, how are we going to survive? How are we going to eat? Get food? Things like that. Now I'm just thinking of survival.
At what point down the line do you say, how do I get back to where the hell I was at?
Right.
Ain't that cold? At what point do we think and say, like, everything you thinking, I get it. Damn, what am I going to do? How am I going to eat? How am I going to be able to protect myself? Matter of fact, I got chains on my family. I know I got to protect them. That's instincts. Once you kind of get a feel of things, you done sat down, you done observed, you done looked around. At what point do we start thinking to ourselves, when the hell do we get, how am I gonna get back to where they just took me from? At what point down the line after that very thought do we then start saying to the same man that just chained us and loaded us up on boats and dropped us off somewhere we didn't know, and without a means of fending for ourselves, without a means of eating and surviving, hey man, what's up, dog? Good. That ain't bizarre. Once it's lined up to you, ain't that bizarre? Ain't that cold? Same man. Here's the thing. What happens is that we let time get in between something. We let time get in between, and then we start saying things like, "Well, it wasn't you that did it. If it wasn't you that did it, so how can I really be mad? It wasn't them. It was their ancestors, and they have inherited the benefit. They inherited what was the reasoning behind their ancestors doing such things to us. How would our ancestors look at ourselves? And like I said, this is by no means an attempt to sit up and say, hey man, leave that girl alone. No, hell no. You enjoy it, but you always remember in your mind, it's something bigger. What do you say? Hey, this thing here is bigger than Nino Brown. It's bigger than this little feeling that I got. Within this small life of Duke, within this small life of Taz. And then once I'm realizing that, it's like, well, what do I do? Do I contribute to the problem, or do I contribute to the solution? And again, we understand that the solution is what? Coming back into our identity, coming back into these laws, statutes, and commandments, and trying to go and get as many people as I can to follow suit. Because that's how we're going to clean up our streets. That's how we're going to clean up our communities. That's how we're going to clean up our wounds, our bruises, and our sores. Right? Give me that in Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 12. Wisdom of Solomon 16 and 12. Read.
This is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 16 verse 12. For it was neither herb, nor mollifying plaster.
It was not herb. It was neither herb nor mollifying plaster, right? That's the ointment, read.
That restored them to health.
That's not what's going to bring us back to health. That's not what's going to clean us up. Remember what it was going to take to cleanse the man, right? What's going to bring us back to health, read.
But thy word, O Lord.
The only thing that's going to bring us back to health is our word, is the word of God, coupled with the faith in who the world calls Christ. Why is this stuff so important? It gives us a standard of and a way of living. It's a way of life. God himself calls it life. He says, I set before you this day life and death. Life is the blessings. Death is the curses. Huh? Hey, we're teaching that the blacks, Hispanic, and Native Indians are the true Israelites you read about in the Bible. You part of God's chosen people. Remember that. Right. It's a way of life. Life is the blessings, death is the curses.